All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Kern, and I'm really excited about this podcast. I have two people on the call with me today. It's Dr. Kim Bynum and April Caldwell. How are y'all doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right. Thanks for coming on. All right. This is pretty exciting because, we're expanding within Convene, and you guys are a big part of that. But that's not what we're here to talk about. To begin with, we're going to talk about you guys. So I want each of you just to kind of introduce yourselves, give our audience an idea of who you are and where you came from and your experiences. So who's first?
Who's going first, April?
Go for it, Kim.
Oh, man. She always makes me go first. So let's see. I am Dr. Kim Bynum, and I served 21 years in the Navy. And actually, that's how I ran across Matt. We served on a ship together a long time ago and recently reconnected because I wanted to know more about Convene. And I currently am a consultant and work with April to build this community of women so that we can educate and empower and connect women. We're going to learn more about that from April. She talks about Trailblazers. What else do you want to know about me? That's
How about family? You got any family?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do have a great family, actually. Thank you. Married to a former Marine, and I have a 24-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. My daughter is a level 9 gymnast, which is pretty exciting and expensive. And my 24-year-old son has cerebral palsy and stays at home with us. So it's a fantastic life. Pretty much a dichotomy of one's in a wheelchair and one's flipping around on the beam and the bars, but it's definitely a blessed life.
That's awesome. So I like the Marine connection there, of course.
Yeah.
How about you, April? Tell us about yourself.
So I am an Army veteran, and I am a women's money coach and efficiency strategist. So I help women create more time and money in their business. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, married to a civilian, and we have a daughter who is 21 years old and a 5-year-old rescue pit bull.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Good. Okay, so let's jump right in and let's talk about what you two ladies do together and how important this is to, just get the message out there for women. So let's talk about Trailblazers. And April, if you just want to jump in and tell me just a little bit about Trailblazers and what you guys do.
Okay. So Trailblazers is a monthly meeting for women. We get together once a month. We have food catered in, we have some wine, and it's an opportunity for women to come and to connect. It's not networking, it's more about creating a relationship and creating connections. And then what we do is we find a trailblazer out in the community, someone that is in Jacksonville serving her community and making it a better place. So she has a message and a mission that needs to be shared with the rest of our community. We bring her in, she speaks on that. So maybe it's a doctor, maybe it is a therapist, someone that's going to come in, talk to us about different ways to give and be charitable, some way that's going to improve their business in life. And then the second half of it, we talk about ways to increase time and money in their business. And it's been going on now almost 3 years.
Oh, wow.
We have some loyalists that have been here from the beginning that show up every month. We just had an event last night, and it was just a great opportunity. An attorney came in to talk about estate planning and what women need to know. And normally this is a pretty morbid topic. No one wants to talk about it. I've held life insurance workshops where I sat there by myself. And so we had maybe 20 women or so there asking great questions, really involved, and who walked out with actionable items that they're going to go and implement to be better prepared for the future.
Absolutely, because obviously you're bringing people in that are sharing their experience and their expertise in whatever area that is. And that's so important no matter what you're doing in life and in parenting and marriage and just coaching, whatever you can do. And so that's really awesome. So if you don't mind, just give me some specific examples of some of the people that have been really good, some specific speakers that you guys have brought in.
Whew, man. All right. So one of the speakers was Heather Alice Shea. She is a business coach. She helps people that they're healers. So, they want to be intuitive coaches. So she comes in, she talks about intuition, trusting yourself, especially as women, how we sometimes second guess ourselves. She helps with the confidence piece of that. So she came in and spoke, and she was amazing.
Wait, I want to tell one.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so this is one that I thought this speaker was so amazing and just really impacted me, and we got great feedback from a lot of the other women too. And her name is Carrie Wilson, and she did, yeah, and so her talk was on the imposter syndrome. And if you don't know Carrie Wilson, she is a professional makeup artist, and she's kind of famous. So look up Carrie Wilson makeup. And if you see April's fabulous lipstick on this, you can see that it's Carrie Wilson, of course. But anyway, so she did this talk at Trailblazers about the imposter syndrome and how a lot of times, even the most like well put together, confident women, you know, just fearless, fierce women doing our thing, that a lot of times the self-talk in our heads and the way that we feel about each other, or the way we feel about ourselves, I mean, sometimes we're walking around like, you know, I don't feel like I deserve this. I don't feel like I'm worthy. I don't feel like I'm good enough. And we feel like we're imposters or frauds. Like we feel like we're just putting on this fake front. And to hear Carrie Wilson, who is this gorgeous professional makeup artist, she's on the TV. She does radio shows. She does professional makeup for like stars and stuff. For her to be in front of us, being vulnerable and sharing that she has these feelings of doubt and that she sometimes feels like a fraud, I was just like, first of all, I can relate to that feeling sometimes in my business or just in life. And then for her to share that this badass woman that has it all together feels like that too, to share her experience with us and to share that story, it blew us away. We were just like, but it was awesome. It was so empowering.
So one of the things that Kim and I talk about, April, and get your take on this, is that me and you and Kim, we're military veterans, right? We've actually done some pretty incredible things that most people have never even thought about doing, right? And it's very hard for us to talk about that. And what I mean by that is like, we don't want to go out and say, well, hey, this is what we did. But most people are pretty impressed with what we did, right? And it kind of goes back to what Kim is just saying, is that, you know, you a women or two women of power, you've been there and you've done that. You've served your country. You've done great things for it. So your stories are great. And if you can share them and empower women, you know, that's so important. But we don't want to talk about it. What are your thoughts on that? You know, do you see that?
I do see that. I see that as a woman. I see that as a veteran. And I'm a little different than the two of you too, because even though I signed up for the max and my goal, my plan was to be a lifer, I got injured and I got out in about 2 years. And so I feel more shame around that than anything. Like sometimes I don't even want to tell people because they're like, oh, well, how long were you in? And like, what's your cool, awesome stories? I'm like, well, you know, like I feel like I can't compete even with other veterans. So
Let me jump in there and talk about that, because I don't know if you know, but I'm medically retired. I was only in 14 years and then bam, I was out, and it happened quick. But you should be proud of everything that you did, because you served your country. And you know, there's only a small percentage of us that get that opportunity to serve our country, whether it's for 1 month, 1 day, or 2 years, or 14 years, or like Kim, 21 years. You know, my plan was to be a lifer too, and unfortunately, you know, I was boom out. But you should still be proud. We should all still be proud of what we did. And you know, you got to take that and run with it. Really, I think so, because you know, we as veterans, we got to band together, stick together. We got to support each other. You know, so yeah, so that's a great thing. And
thank you for saying that.
yeah. So yeah, hey, we're together. Kim's the outlier in this call. That's funny. All right, so let's keep talking about Trailblazers. So what do you? Well, first, just tell me a little bit about the growth. You touched on it, but how hard was it to get this movement going of women? And you said you've been at it 3 years. Has it been a fast process? Has it been a slow process? And where do you see it going in the future?
All right. So a little bit of background is I've been doing monthly women's events for 8 years. And I did them under a different format, a different name. And when I started Trailblazers, it was scary because I was like rebuilding. So I didn't know what to expect. So I was really fortunate that a lot of people from my old events kind of carried over into my new events. And it took on a life of itself. Like, I mean, I would love to say like, I worked really hard and I built this up and it was a struggle, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think that there was a need. I think that women came and that first time felt the vibe, felt the energy, and we've been blessed that they've just come back and they've brought friends. So, I mean, there are months, so I track it with Excel spreadsheets. I track how many
Such a
people
nerd.
registered. Thank you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
how many registered, how many attended? Um, and so, there's different months, there's different seasons, there's different topics where we go from having 42 women to having 17. So I think it goes up and down, but we've been really blessed that it's been consistent and that it's not something where we show up and no one else does.
April, do you mind, because I know the backstory, but everybody doesn't. Do you mind sharing a little bit about, because you said, oh, I want to take all the credit, but it just was easy. But I think it was easy for a reason. And so I want you to share a little bit about why Trailblazers in the first place. You've been doing this for 8 years, and now I've jumped on board and gotten to ride your coattails a little bit with the success. But why 8 years of women's events? And do you mind sharing with everybody a little bit about why you're so passionate about these women's events? Because then I think the audience can understand why it's been easy for you to grow this tribe that we have.
Okay. All right. Luckily, I did not put on mascara, so I don't have to worry about ugly crying. So, okay. So, the reason I got into trying to empower women and educate women is growing up, I didn't have that role model. When I looked at my stepmom, when I looked at my grandmother, they were women that were controlled by money. My mama stayed married to a man she hated for 50 years because she was financially dependent upon him. They didn't even speak to each other. At the dinner table, if he wanted more iced tea, he shook his glass so the ice would jingle, and she knew that he wanted more tea. Um, and then I watched my stepmom after she and my dad got divorced, that even with alimony and child support, she couldn't manage her money and survive. And I just knew I never wanted to be in that position. I was going to do everything I could not to. And then once I got there, I wanted to help every woman I can have choices.
Wow, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. That's amazing, And when you look at what I believe in personally, I'm all about. I think we all have a story. I think we all have a story of where we come from, and it's so important on us to share those stories for the good of others. And I think what you've been able to tap into and what you've been able to do is to take your passion for really helping other women, and you're doing it. And I think that is so cool. I'm a little jealous that men aren't involved, but that's a different topic. We'll talk about
We
that
get that a lot.
We hear that a lot.
later.
And one of the things that I've been so proud of about the growth of Trailblazers is that what April found and what we've been able to do as Trailblazers has grown and these numbers have grown, and maybe this is a segue into navigate a little bit, is April found that as she was having her monthly events and she was talking about and teaching and empowering women about money and financial freedom and everything that was her area of expertise, she was like, oh my gosh, there's all these other fierce women with their own stories and their own messages and their own experiences that she wanted to get them in front of our tribe. And so she was like, wait a minute, I've got my platform here. I have these monthly events. And so she started inviting, like she said, other women to come and share, whether that was like our event last night was a probate lawyer. I don't know what it's called, that right?
Estate planning.
Estate planning, probate lawyer. And of course, and she's just like this gorgeous woman that is so smart. But she was vulnerable with us and we could be vulnerable with her and get it done. And somebody else, all these women with their stories and their passion and why they do what they do. But we now provide this platform through Trailblazers monthly events. And then we'll talk a little bit about Navigate Our Women's Summit, which is an even bigger stage. And so we curate and we go out and find all these amazing women with amazing stories, whether it's their business, inspirational, personal, professional development, and provide the platform, because it's not just us and what we've learned and what we want to share, but now we're going out and finding all these amazing women to bring to our tribe so that they can share their information, their stories, their experience, and just keep on spreading that.
All right, so let's jump into that. Let's talk about Navigate. Let's talk about what y'all just did, because
Yay!
I followed it on Facebook. I was checking it out the whole day just to see what y'all are doing, and I got to tell you, I'm impressed with what y'all have done. So tell me about Navigate, and let's talk about what y'all just did, the summit that y'all just did the other day. Who's got it?
I'll start and then you jump in. So anyway, it was on Monday, and this was our second event. We did a women's expo in March of 2019, and it was so amazing, so fantastic. We had great turnout. Everybody told us, oh, your first event, just expect a couple of people. It's not going to really be that big of a deal because your first time, you don't really know what you're doing. And we had, I don't even know, we had like over 100 and I don't know what people, and everybody raved. And we were like, oh my gosh, this was so wonderful. We're not even going to wait till next year. We're going to go ahead and have another one, which we just had on Monday, September 23rd, right? And so we did it again, and we didn't even wait a full year because we're crazy, because April's crazy like that. I'm not. And so it was fantastic. And that's where I'm going to leave off and let April take over and tell you about how the day went.
So tell me about it. Let's go. Go ahead.
All right. So I think Kim's being a little bit modest because our event in March, we had almost 200 women. So, and that was on a Saturday. This one was on a Monday, which we picked strategically. We wanted to test a weekday against a weekend. And so we had maybe 23 less women at the Monday event, but it was a full day. We had 12 speakers, 10 plus Kim and I. We had 23 vendors, 12 speakers. We went from 9 to 3. It was breakout sessions. We had great breakthroughs from women. We had women crying, good crying, creating connections. And it was a powerful day.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's really cool. So just talk about just a few, what kind of speakers did y'all bring in?
Okay. Well, we had Wendy Griffiths, who she is a realtor. And so normally, you don't think about a realtor being a speaker, but she is in the top 14 realtors in Jacksonville, which has like 3 million realtors.
Yeah.
She's in the top 14. She's written a book. She trains other realtors.
Awesome.
But her message, what she spoke on, was creating a repeat and referral business. And she spoke from the heart. Yeah. She, had a message to teach these women, no matter what industry they were in, how they can treat their customers to turn them into lifelong customers. She did this one exercise, which I'll go ahead and tell y'all because it's amazing.
It's so good.
So she has you think about somebody that you admire and that you respect. And then she has you write down who that is and write down the qualities of the people, of the qualities of that person that you admire and respect. So like for me, I had picked someone and she was a business leader and she was authentic and there was a few other things. And then Wendy, and I always mutilate the way she explains it, so bear with me, but she says, you can't admire in other people what you don't possess inside yourself. And so that was like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm admiring this person for all these qualities, but wait, I do
share
possess
it.
those.
April, share it. Say who you admired and say what your words were. Just do
well,
it.
I said my words, but my person that I wrote down for this exercise was Amy Porterfield. So she's like a big deal in the online coaching world. Like her last launch, she grossed like $4.5 million, and she's helping women launch their own courses. So. But it was
her words. What were her words?
She was authentic, successful. I forget she was just like herself, and I forget what some of the other words.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome.
But that was one of the speakers. We had, you want to talk about Betsy, or you want to talk about one of the other speakers?
Yeah, well, here's what I want to share, because we talked about some of the other speakers earlier. I want to just share with you that it's not just about the speakers, it's just about the vibe there. And I had one of my girls from the Navy, and this was somebody like that when I was a lieutenant, she was an officer candidate. And it doesn't matter if you're not military, you don't know. But anyway, this was just somebody that was really young when I met her. I haven't seen her in probably 20 years. She drove up from Miami to Jacksonville, which is not a short drive. because she wanted to be at this event, and I was a mentor to her when we were in the military. She comes in. I don't get to see her a lot because I'm an organizer of the event or whatever. We hug, da-da-da-da. We're walking out, and I see her, and I'm like, hey, I hope you had a great time. She comes over, and she's like, Kim, I met your friend, Karen, and this is not a speaker. This is just somebody that's at the event because she's a supporter. She's in the tribe. And the girl, Michelle, is crying. And she's not crying because I always used to beat up the girls for crying in the Navy. And they had to go to their room and cry. And she's getting teared up, and she's like, I'm sorry for crying. And I'm like, no, girl, we're not in the Navy anymore. If we want to cry, we freaking cry. Our feelings are Gucci. We wear them on our sleeve. That's little Lizzo for you, April. And I'm like, what? Cry away. What's going on? And she's like, oh my God, I met Karen, not a speaker, just an attendee, just one of our tribe. And she's like, I spoke to her. She gave me clarity on my purpose and my destiny of why I'm doing my business. I know how I'm going to go. I know the direction now. I wasn't sure what I was doing with this thing. And she's just like, I came up for this weekend. It's a me weekend. I'm staying in the hotel. I'm going to go and just take this and run with it and do all these things. And she's just absolutely emotional. And this is not a speaker she listened to. This is just one of our tribe that took a minute to talk to her.
Absolutely.
So
Really
you talk
cool.
about connections. I mean, it's just amazing. So that's the
that's
power.
Go ahead, April.
Okay, and also, I mean, because you bring up a good point, because we had women from Miami, we had women from Kansas City, we had a woman from New Zealand, we had a woman from Georgia, out of state, that came to this event. So it was really powerful that they traveled this distance to come.
Yeah, growing. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, so y'all are making a difference and connecting people together. And I think that's so important when you talk about that, because we all can learn from each other. We all have different expertise, different experiences, different stories, and wherever you connect and you can learn from somebody, that is just key. That is just so important. Well, on Navigate, what's next? What's next with that? When's the next summit? Next week?
No, right. We're a little wiser, a little more seasoned now. So it's next year. It is September 19th, 2020. It's a Saturday. It is in Jacksonville, Florida again. So every woman worldwide is invited to come, and they can find more information at navigatewomensummit.com.
Yeah. So I want to jump back real quick. I want to ask or bring up a topic, because I think all of us are looking to do something. And you brought up something interesting, April, is that the person that you admired, right? This person has had huge success, right? And obviously, all three of us here, we want to emulate that style, right? We want to get to that next level, So how do we get to that next level? I mean, and y'all are doing it. I think it takes time. It takes a process, and y'all are obviously getting out there growing it. But how do y'all see, where do you want Navigate to go? How big do you want it to get? You want it to grow?
Big. We've kind of talked about it. What we see for Navigate is, once we do a couple of these here in Jacksonville, because we've been asked to come down to South Florida. There's been talk of us going to Denver. Once we get the Navigate brand in this event a little bit more well known, we want to be able to do it in different locations. And we see it as the event that women, coaches, business owners, healers need to be at. So we only see it getting bigger.
Yeah, you don't come to North Carolina because I'll crash it. No, you can
just put on a dress and some lipstick. We'll never be able to tell the difference.
I'm not going to do that one. That's funny. That's funny. All right, so let's talk about the next topic. We've kind of gone through Navigate and Trailblazers and all that, but I've been working with Kim, and we're talking about Convene, right? And so that's obviously my thing. And Convene is an empty shell that hopefully people can take and run with it and bring people together and connect, communicate, collaborate, and really work together. So how do you guys see how you can integrate and use Convene in your growth? Because that's really what it's a platform to help you do. It's a platform that hopefully you guys can grow with, and it's a tool that can augment your growth. So what do you think, Kim?
Well, before Kim jumps in, can I just say, I've never seen Kim use technology. Like, normally I'm the one that's building everything, doing the websites, doing all the stuff that makes everything look pretty.
Yeah.
And like she took this and ran with it. So one, I think it just really speaks to how easy it is to use.
Yeah.
And like I've like let her run. So yeah, Kim, tell us.
So what's perfect, I do got to tell you, because she's like, well, I'll just get it in there, and then April will come back in and make it pretty. She can fix it and make it look better.
Right.
Okay, now that I feel like a complete loser.
No.
Hey,
No,
Kim,
seriously.
Kim, I'm the one with the big idea. I got a great team behind me, but I'm not April either. So technology it's my tool, it's my app, my platform, but I got a lot of smart people that help me. So we all need April.
Yes, we all need the Aprils in our lives, don't we,
And the
Matt?
Kims and the Matts.
That's right.
It takes a village. It takes a village.
Well, that's exactly right. It takes a community, right?
A community,
Go ahead.
exactly.
So let's run with it. What do you got?
Okay, so bottom line is that is very true, because whenever I first was introduced to Convene, my first thought was, okay, no, I don't do apps, I don't do technology, like, and I even said, I was like, this sounds like an amazing platform, but you're gonna have to talk to April, because like I don't do that stuff. But as I got into it, my thought was, for Convene, I love the idea, because what April and I are all about is, as you can see, what Convene does, which is connect and tell stories and share experiences. And that's Trailblazers in a nutshell, is this idea of community, of connection, of sharing our experiences and telling our stories with the purpose of learning, making better decisions, and bringing everybody together so that we can all be better. I mean, that's what it's all about. And so if that's the overall concept, I was like, yeah, that's what we need to do. And so when I got into the actual community and we created the Trailblazer, in fact, I created the Trailblazer community. I was like, oh my, did I do this? Did I just do this? And so I got in there and I started messing around with it. And I realized that this is an opportunity for April and I to kind of bring together our community in one spot, where it's like, instead of having our group on Facebook and then our content hosted over here, and then having our instead of having like 5 different applications and platforms all over the place where we had to hunt and peck and find everything, the Convene community allows us to be in one space, bring all of our tribe together so that we can communicate with them, we can get information out to them, we can create experiences or courses or material, we can host content which we can either sell or just share, all in one clean location. And what I love best is that it allows our tribe to interact back with us and with each other, so that the stories can be told and compiled and saved there. Like when we're on Facebook and I want to have a conversation with somebody, that gets lost and scrolled down. But when I want to share my experience with somebody and I want them to comment and interact with me, it stays right there in the bubble. So there's so many, that's what I love about it. And the fact that I can do it, that I can actually like make that stuff happen and go in there and create the experience, or make my course online, or go host all of our, we just had these, all these amazing speakers, right? We video their content. Now we can have all that in one spot, make it available. Oh my gosh, it's not lost now. Navigate Summit, it's there forever. The content's there. We can offer that to our tribe in perpetuity, and it's not just all over the place. It's been amazing, and I think it's going to be a great way for us to be able to really grow and leverage getting information experiences out.
I'll touch on that one thing that you just said. I think
Did I mess it up?
No,
Did I say it wrong?
That was perfect. I mean, you went right down the script that I wrote for you.
I want my $20 now.
That's right. That's right. No, but what you said about the navigate that you just did, I think that's so important, because you guys just gathered a tremendous amount of content with all of those speakers, and each of those speakers shared their experiences. So that's why inside of Convene, I call them experiences, because people can share what they're passionate about, or what their story is, or what their expertise is. And now, you guys caught, 175 people, or however many it was. I'm going off the 200. I'm doing math, I'm a Marine, so give me a second. But you caught that. But what about all those other million women that couldn't be there? Now they can still go through. They can still watch those speakers. That's still content for you guys, and they can also interact with it. And that's the key thing, because you don't always get. I think one of the best things about Convene that I think it is if I put a situation out there for the three of us right now, we all three might give a separate answer. We might give a separate opinion. Well, where did those opinions come from? They come from our experience, right? And it doesn't mean that April's right or Kim, you're right, and I'm right. We're all right, and we can all learn from each other. And that's the beautiful thing, is that people can contribute, people can collaborate and talk and do it in either a way where they're identified or anonymous, And so there's so many different things to it. So that's good. So I encourage you to think about that. And you already said it. So that's good. So
that is true though. And I didn't realize that at first, is that unlike social media, when you do those experiences, you're able to be anonymous, which I think is important for military. I went on to I have a military group. It's a Navy women's group, and we share stuff. But there are a couple of topics that I've wanted to talk about, but I don't want it to be associated necessarily with me, because one, I was an admiral's executive assistant. I was an officer. So there's some things that I'm a little hesitant to kind of put out there, just because it's my name, it's me, and people know where I served and who I served with, and they might know like what command it was. So having an ability to be anonymous is kind of a cool thing that you've built into that.
But it's important. And I know, Kim, I'll just say this real quick. I told you the story, but it came from my daughter, my 13-year-old daughter at the time. I asked her to write an experience, and she was writing a sensitive topic. It was about social media. And she was saying to me, Dad, they won't know it's me. Well, they won't know it's me. And she was writing about, her name is Lainey, but she was writing it from the point of view of Olivia. And so, it was something that she didn't want people to know it was her. Well, there's a lot of subjects out there. You'll see people come into Convene and they'll write about alcoholism. They'll write about drug addiction. They'll write about depression. They want feedback. They want to get that interaction with people. They don't want to put it out that it's them. And that's so important, because we all have topics that we don't just want to, air our dirty laundry or put it out, but we might want that feedback, and that's important, and that's a key thing. And so when you're answering, you go in and you answer questions, or they're open-ended questions, it's all anonymous, but we don't know who it is and who puts the answers in. And that's important, because we want open and honest talk, open and honest debate, and it's not like Facebook where, I put a topic out there and then I slam Kim or slam April because I don't like what y'all said, Really, I'm answering the questions. I'm not answering you. I don't know what you said yet. So anyway, just some thoughts there. So I couldn't be more excited that y'all are on it.
Yeah, we're excited too.
Yeah. And what Convene is what this call is, and what Convene is what you guys are already doing it with Trailblazers and with Navigate. You're already out there bringing women together for the good of women, and bringing experts together in whatever domain that they're in, and letting them share so people can learn from each other. So now, hopefully you can use Convene and just help you grow, and I look forward to helping y'all grow as well, and continuing to talk about what y'all are doing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, this has been great, and it went a lot better than my sales call with April.
That may have been exaggerated for theatrical lessons.
Just so y'all know, when I did the sales call, I kind of shared too much, or went too deep and didn't answer the question. Actually, you know what? The true answer is, it was a huge learning experience for me. And I think it was great. And I'm just joking about that.
You shared your passion. If nothing else, it came across how much this means to you and why you're doing it.
It is. I'm just joking. It's because I just can't stop. Just pick it.
He's never gonna overcome it. I think it's gonna live on forever, April.
It will. So when I start having oh, look, one other things that y'all do is you've put on events and help speakers and all that stuff. And I want to just throw that out there, because I'm really looking forward to working with you guys Y'all have more expertise in that. And I hope we can, in the next year, really work on a conference and bring Convene speakers together. And when I mean Convene speakers, I'm doing the same thing you guys are doing, but just people who have a passion. You guys have a passion. And if y'all can help me put that on, I would love it. Because I think we can we can bring people together. Y'all are already doing it, but we can bring people together to make a difference in people's lives. So that's really,
Absolutely,
really awesome. All right.
We're in.
That's right. Y'all got anything else you want to throw out there before we get?
I think so.
Okay.
No. We do. We always we want to share, and April wants to share because she'll know better than I do because she's our detail person. Where can they find us on social media, April?
So on Instagram, you can find us at Trailblazers Rise. You can find us on Facebook at Navigate Women Summit. And we're also on LinkedIn under our names, Kim Bynum and April Caldwell.
And so what also will happen is that this will be attached to a blog. So this comes out in 3 formats. It comes out in video, it comes out in a total, just a podcast, and then there's a blog. And so I will get all your social media, and this will be part of the blog. And then it'll also link over to your Convene group. So if you're a woman and you want to go join Trailblazers, there'll be a link right there to it. So that's
awesome. Thanks, Matt.
No, it's cool. I really appreciate y'all being on. It's allowed me to, I've learned a lot. Like I said, I'm jealous that I'm not part of it, but I respect it. I'm going to have Trailblazers in. That's what I'm starting. Y'all are doing a wonderful thing. So keep it up. I'm impressed.
All right, Matt.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.